Hi, welcome to another video by Kent Alton. I was tagged today by Teresa Shelton on 5 random facts for my life. Well, the first one I'd like to deal with is probably the most influential or most life-changing one in my life, is how I met my wife, Laura. I met her when I was, excuse the flying rabbit fur that's flying around. I met her when I was 16 at a Young People's Hayride, which Young People's is a church group that I was a member of, and she thought I was making fun of her and commenting about her and some other boy, and she ended up tackling me and stuffing hay down my shirt. So I was too embarrassed at the time to even ask her name, so I ended up trying to find out what school she went to the next day, and ended up I was hunting down her friend who she was with, and ended up finding out that she went to the same school, and met her at the football game and sat next to her, and the rest, as they say, is history. Second random fact is I have 4 kids. Our intention was to, like I was telling the kids today, to space them about 3 years apart, and I succeeded in the first 2. Tasha, who's now almost 15, and Brett, who's 11. But that didn't quite work so well on the 3rd and the 4th pair, which ended up coming at the same time, no more than 13 months after Brett came into the picture. That was a bundle, having 3 kids under the age of 14 months. The third random fact is, as you can see by my shirt, I'm a Polk City volunteer fireman and EMS person, and I completed my fireman's training earlier this year, which involved 6 months of fire school and going to class 2 or 3 times a week. But I ended up passing my Firefighters 1 class, which was kind of a stressful thing, as the results came not in the 4 weeks later that they had promised, but nearly 8 weeks later. And the fourth random fact that most people who actually know me at work already know is that I'm a certification junkie. And by that I mean I'm in IT as a network administrator, which if you go to my website is network-admin.net. And in IT, one of the ways that you prove your competency is through certifications, like your MCSE or your Novell CNE or VMware's VCP. Well, I counted it up a few years ago. I had 21 different certifications behind my name that I could be putting out there if I was so inclined or vain to do that. And why do I do that? I simply find it easiest to learn a subject if I've been forced to learn it to a standardized level. Otherwise I might be only called to learn reactively as opposed to proactively to get certified. With Windows Server 2008, I took the beta exams and actually was called upon by Microsoft to go out to Redmond earlier this year to certify their exams and what the passing grade would be. That was a very interesting trip out there to see the men behind the mask, or the women behind the mask, of the certification world, as well as Microsoft in general. And the fifth random fact is probably the most impetuous thing that I've ever done. Shortly after I gained my master's degree in history, which could be a random fact in itself, however, I took a job at a regional bank in South Dakota. I worked there for nearly a year and a half, at which point I was reaching the limit of what I could be doing there, and was getting frustrated that I wasn't able to progress in terms of the structure there. And at that point, I knew that I could be doing something better someplace else, so I ended up putting in my 2 weeks and thinking, you know what, I'm going to find something, but I just can't do it while I'm working at another place. And at that point, I started putting out my resume hot and heavy. This was during the .com boom, so it might not be as impetuous as it is today to just say resign and not have a waiting job offer in the wings. But in this case, I did do that, and within less than 2 weeks, I ended up getting a great job offer in Fort Dodge by Mason City Business Systems, and ended up working there for 2 years. Well, that concludes my 5 random facts. If you have any other further questions, or if you want to tag me again, feel free to. I enjoy self-examination or navel-gazing as much as anybody. Well, goodbye. The twins are here, and they both were upset that they thought I might have missed naming them. And this is Brooke, and that's Amanda. So if I missed naming them, there they are, and those are my two twins. Goodbye.